Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm excited to bring you another video in the 311 Palette of the Week series where I use a palette for a week and share with you my 3 favorite looks using that palette. Now today, as you saw in the title, I'm using the Too Faced Chocolate Bonbons palette. As you can see, it's a lot of neutrals but with a couple of pops of color that can be a little intimidating. So I am using almost all of these colors in one way or another in these 3 looks. And if you've seen my other 311s, you know that I just do the eyes, cheeks, and lips. So my foundation and all of that I do off camera. Many of you requested a tutorial on the look that I was wearing in the Just Use It Up January, my first 2 videos showing you the products I'm going to use up this month and then how to declutter. And the look that I was wearing in those videos is look number 1. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into these tutorials. To start off this first look, I used the Bare Minerals 5-in-1 BB Cream Shadow as my primer. And now I'm taking the Morphe M208 brush and the shade Divinity. This is just a matte cream shadow, and I'm going to use this all along the brow bone as my highlight shade. And then using the Morphe M504, I'm going to go into my favorite crease shade in this palette, and it is Almond Truffle. Now this shadow does take a little bit of building, but I kind of like that because you can easily control how much you apply to your lids. So I layered this a couple of times, and I took it in the crease from the inner corner all the way to the outer corner. And then I took the Sedona Lace EB09. You could also use the Morphe M433. It would give you a very similar effect. And I'm going in now with the shade Bordeaux. Now this is a beautiful kind of reddish brown shade, and it's super pigmented, so a little goes a long way. You can see I am just dabbing the shadow first in the outer corner and then softly blending that towards the middle of the lid and the middle of the crease. And again, just building it slowly and then taking what is left on the brush and gently diffusing that towards the center of the crease and the center of the lid. And then because I didn't want this look to get too dark, I was careful not to bring that in too far and instead went in with the Morphe M504 and a little more Almond Truffle to finish blending out that shade. And then once again just took that EB09 on kind of the side of it and used the side bristles gently just to further kind of soften that edge one final time. And then going in with this cream shadow, this is the Essence 2-in-1 shadow in the color Rosy Happiness. I'm taking this from the inner corner about 2/3 of the way across the upper lid, and then taking the Sigma E60 and the shade Sprinkles. This is a beautiful, very pale pink shimmery color, and it's fine on its own, but putting that cream base down just adds a little more intensity to the metallic quality of this shadow. And I did layer that a couple of times. I did overlap that darker shade in the outer corner. That's okay. We're going to go back and re-intensify that in a moment. But first we're going to add a little eyeliner. This is a Mally double-ended eyeliner, but you can use any dark brown eyeliner. And you can see I'm starting super close to the lash line, about halfway across. And then as I get to the outer corner, I am pulling that up into a slightly wedged shape. And this just kind of provides a little bit of lift to the eye out there. And then as I get closer towards the inner corner, I just keep it really super close to the lashes. Then I'll also run that liner on the inner rim on the lower lash line just to add a little extra thickness to the lashes there. And then using the Morphe M432, I'm going to use the shade Mocha first just to provide a nice soft diffused line on the lower lashes, and then going in with the shade Bordeaux on that same brush and using this just in the outer third of the lower lash line, right close to the lashes, just to further blend that eyeliner into the lashes and the lower lash line. And then I'm going to use this shade and pull it up towards the outer corner of the upper lash line. And you'll see I am pulling this shadow up towards the brow just to give a faint hint of a wing there without having to do liquid liner. So this again just adds that little bit of extra lift to the outer corner. Now taking the EB21 from Sedona Lace, I'm going in with more of that Bordeaux shade, and again we're just going to re-intensify that outer corner as well as blend that eyeliner into the shadows there, and just keep it nice and soft. And then go back with the E60 and a little more of sprinkles and re-intensify that shade right there on the inner 2/3 of the upper lid. Then if you feel like you lost any intensity of the liner, you can go back and just touch it up right close to the lashes there. Now I'm going in with the shade Molasses Chip just with my ring finger and putting this between the shade Sprinkles and the Bordeaux shade on the outer corner. And it just kind of helps make those colors blend into each other a little better. Then go back with the EB21 and the EB09 and just blend that outer shade into those shimmery shades, and then one final blend with the M504. After applying mascara, I'm going in with blush, and this is a beautiful e.l.f. blush. This is the Primer Infused blush in the shade Always Rosy, and I'm using the Morphe E4. And you see this just really adds a nice little freshness to the cheeks. For lips, I'm using this tiny little Urban Decay Naked Lip Liner. Now this is the old color Naked. In their new line, they redid their colors and for whatever reason renamed this shade, and I believe it is now the shade Liar. After applying that to the outer lip line and blending it in a little, I'm using my favorite MAC lipstick. This is the color Fabby, and I'm just layering that on. And then I just like to blot off a little of that excess and then top it with this Huda Beauty Lip Strobe Gloss in the shade Angelic. And this just makes the lips look nice and full and adds a nice sheen. One last step for the eyes, and that is inner corner highlight using the E30 from Sigma. I'm going in with Satin Sheets and just brightening up that inner corner a little bit more and then blending it up towards the crease. And that's our completed look, and I just love how this look turned out. A little more cool tone, but get ready, we're going to now go with a very colorful look in look number 2. So I started off with the Lorac Behind the Scenes Primer and the Avon Primer over it, just to give me a little coverage, but I think the Avon Primer caused a little blending issues later, you'll see. So I'm starting off with the Morphe M208 and the shade Divinity, and then I'm taking the Morphe M513 and the shade Mocha, and I'm taking this in the crease. I probably should have started with Almond Truffle. It would have made the blending process a little easier, but I'm taking this all the way through the crease, and I thought I wanted a little bit of a warmer crease, but you'll see we make the crease a little more plummy in the end. So after putting that in the crease, then I take this shadow on the brush and just sweep it up towards the outer part of the brow, and I'm creating kind of a wedge shape there and a little bit of a lifted eye look. Now I'm taking the Urban Decay 24/7 Glide On Pencil in the shade Mainline. This is a beautiful teal blue color, and I take this about halfway up on the lid, and you don't have to do this step, but it is going to make the turquoise shadow in the palette stand out a little more. Then I take the Morphe E18 pencil brush and blend the edge of that eyeliner before it completely sets. And then I took the color Stag from Urban Decay. This is just a dark brown pencil, and I used this right along the lash line. I wasn't sure if I was going to use a liquid liner or not. I do go back in later with a liquid liner, but I felt like this just added a little bit of depth that I needed at the lash line. Now taking the E55 from Sigma, and I'm going in with that shade Earl Grey. This is a beautiful shade, but one that I don't use much. But I was going all for color in this shade, so I applied that all over where we placed that eyeliner, and then I brought it up slowly in the outer corner, used the pencil brush to go back and blend, and you will see this is a process. We're going to go between several colors and several brushes just to try and get the right blend. So I went in now with the Morphe M506 and the shade Mocha, and I'm trying to build that up in the crease. Then I went in with the Morphe M433 and a little bit of Mocha and Bordeaux. And I didn't want to take that blue shade up into the crease too far, so that's why I'm using other colors to blend in the crease. But then I decided to add a little bit of Totally Fetch, and I loved the pairing of that kind of plummy pink with the turquoise shade. So now going back with that M506 and a little bit more of Earl Grey, just using this to bring that up a little bit more towards the crease. If you have hooded eyes, you know the struggle. It's just slowly building, blending, back with the M433. Now I took the pencil brush, this is the E18, and a little bit of dark truffle. And I wanted to first intensify that outer corner before I went back and did more blending. So I'm just placing that in the outer corner, going back now with Earl Grey and the E55. And I'm bringing this up a little bit closer to the crease. And then I went back with the Morphe M433, no product, and just used this to further blend the crease, and then went back with the 513 and a tiny little bit of Totally Fetch to add a little more plummy rosiness in the crease. And you can see the patchiness. I was starting to have a little issue there in the outer corner. I think that was the primer, but just continued to blend that, then used a little bit of Bordeaux on the Morphe M433 just as one final little bit of blending there in the outer corner. And then going in with liner. So this is the Kat Von D Tattoo Liner in the color Mad Max Brown, my favorite liquid brown eyeliner, and kept this really super close to the lashes and did just a little baby wing out there. And now for the lower lash line, I'm taking the Aesthetica angled brush and the shade Mocha, and placing this along the lower lashes just for a soft liner down there, and then using the M432 and Bordeaux really close to the lower lash line and just about halfway across. Now taking the Laura Mercier Caviar Stick in the shade Copper. I wanted gold in this inner corner. I told you it was going to be colorful, so I placed this just in the inner corner and over about not quite a third of the way. And this is just going to be a base for the shadow that we put over top, which is the beautiful color Molasses Chip. And I'm using that on the Sigma E30. And you can see it's just a really pretty color combination with that gold and that teal-y turquoise and then that plummy rosy shade. And then I used satin sheets kind of on the innermost part of the corner just to further brighten that, and then blend it up into that crease shade and a little bit of sprinkles. Like I said, I wanted to blend this into that more pinky plummy shade we had in the crease. And then one final kind of step to kind of erase and reinforce our brow bone highlight, I used more Divinity along the brow bone, applied mascara, and now for blush. This is the Laura Geller Pink Buttercream Blush and Brighten. It's so pretty. I used the Bare Minerals blush brush, and you can see this just really added nice life to the cheeks, but wasn't too overwhelming for our colorful eye look. And then I went in with Mary Luminizer and this huge old fan brush from Sedona Lace. This is just a really nice brush when you have a very intense highlighter and you don't want it to be applied too intensely to the cheeks. So So I applied this to the tops of the cheeks, tops of the nose there, and the Cupid's bow, and then used a little bit on my finger just to further brighten that inner corner of the eyes. And it was time then for lips. So I started off with the MAC Soft Ochre Paint Pot around the edge to help prevent my lip color from bleeding. And then I went in with this itty bitty tiny NYX lip liner. This is the shade Mauve. If you have seen my Just Use It Up January series, you know I'm trying to use this lip liner up. So I used this all around my lips and then went over it with the Tutti Frutti lip gloss in the shade Home Slice from Too Faced. I wanted more of a pinky rosy lip for this look to tie in with our crease color. So I started off with this. This smells just yummy, like yummy sweet fruit. And then I went over the top of that with the ColourPop Ultra Glossy Lip in the shade Just Surfed. And this tied in that inner corner golden coppery look we have on the eyes. And I just loved this lip combination. And that completes our super colorful, bold eye. And I really loved how it ended up in the end. Just took a lot of blending, as you could see. So now on to look number 3. I started off with primed lids. I used the Lorac Behind the Scenes Eye Primer and the Bare Minerals 5-in-1, and I really liked that combination. So I took the Morphe M208 and Divinity, and I used this along the brow bone and then the inner part of the top of my crease. And then I went in with the shade Cashew Chew because I hadn't used it, and I liked this for the very top part of my crease. And then I took the Morphe M504 and the combination of almond truffle and pecan praline, and I put that all through the crease, and I really liked that. I think the pecan praline I've been scared to use because it looks too gray, but I think it was perfect for this look. Then I took the Urban Decay Glide On pencil in the shade Rockstar, and it's a dark purple shade, and I started halfway across the lid on the upper lashes, and then you can see I am now just pointing that edge up towards the brow, and I'm going to drag that line then back towards the center where I started, and we're going to be creating this really nice lifted look in the outer corner. Then I took the EB21 from Sedona Lace and this ColourPop shadow called Hustle. Now you could continue using the Urban Decay purple liner or any other purple eyeliner you have, but I had this base on hand that I'm trying to use up, so I used this cream shadow, and you can see I am just blending out the eyeliner and then just extending the edge of it towards the brow. And then using that brush to drag the shadow a little bit towards the center again. And again, we're creating just this nice lifted look in the outer corner, but we're not taking this through the crease. Now taking this Luxie brush, we are going to go in with this scary looking shade called Totally Fetch. And we are going to use this kind of like a base, so don't panic. I am applying this, just laying down this shadow, not quite to the inner corner, but I am going now following that purple shade and going up towards the brow with this. And not really taking this through the crease, a little bit there in the outer corner, but that's it. Then I'm going back with the EB21 and the shade Black Currant. Now this purple shade does not look very purpley unless you put it over this bright pink shade. So that's why I'm doing this. So I am taking that brush and just blending that purple shade over the pink and into that outer part. Now again, I'm not taking this through the crease, but just gently diffusing it. And then I went in with that Luxie brush because I wanted a little more color laid down, so I brought that in just a little bit further. And just gently shading that over the top of that pink color. And then I went in with the Morphe M433 and a combination of Almond Truffle and Totally Fetch. Just a tiny hint of Totally Fetch. And I'm going to use this now right at the tip of that outermost part of the crease. And we're just going to use this to blend out that outer part there that we've got, where we've got that dark shadow. And then I'm going to go in with Pecan Praline on that same brush, and again further diffuse that, and then I'll bring that through the crease. And then more almond truffle and a tiny little bit of Totally Fetch. You just kind of want to go back and forth with these colors until you feel like the crease and that outer edge is blended. And now going in with a tiny little bit of Bordeaux. I wanted just a hint of some warmth over that purple. For me personally, that's what makes purple a little more wearable, making it just a hint warmer. And then went back again with a tiny little bit more black currant on that Luxie brush and made sure that outer edge was very purpley. And you can see my right eye is already done. That's where we're going. So that's why you don't have to panic with that bright pink. And then one more blend with the M433, no additional product first, and then another little dip into Totally Fetch and Almond Truffle, just to add a tiny little bit of a pink twist there in the crease. Then I took the shade Cafe au Lait, and this is a shade I've hardly ever used, and I put this over that pink shade and I loved it. Now with my finger, you can see, you can leave it here, and it's much more subtle, but I wanted more intensity, so I took the E60 from Sigma and I put on one side the Cafe au Lait and on the other side the sprinkle shade. I really coated my brush. And then you can take any setting spray that you have and spritz both sides of that brush with that shadow on it. And then we're going to see those colors really intensify. So I'm starting here with Cafe au Lait, and I'm putting that shade over the majority of the lid. And you can see just how much more intense that is. And then I flip the brush over and I put the sprinkle shade on the inner corner and blending that up towards the inner part of the crease. Going back one more time with the Luxie brush and a little bit of Totally Fetch, I'm going to use this just to blend the shimmer shade and those outer corner colors together. And then the Morphe M433 just to soften the edge of those shimmer shades on the inner corner. And we are done with shadow. Now I'm taking the Rockstar eyeliner along the lower lash line about halfway across, and then using my finger to blend that a little bit. And then taking the M432 and Almond Truffle and using this just to soften the edge of that liner. And then using Bordeaux and Black Currant. I'm going to start with Bordeaux first, right up against the lash line there in the outer corner. And then go in with Black Currant and just further smudge this a little lower towards the outer corner. Now I'm taking this Ciate Fierce Flick liquid liner. I do not like this liner at all. You can see the struggle was real. It did end up working. It's a really super black line, but it's so hard to apply. So I would recommend the Kat Von D tattoo liner or the It Cosmetics Superhero one. But after applying just a thin line of that, I applied my mascara, and now it's time for blush. So you could use the Laura Geller Pink Buttercream again. That would work. But I had this beautiful Mallywood brightening or highlighting blush shade, and I loved this. So I took my Bare Minerals blush brush and swirled all those colors together, then focused a little more purple on my brush. And I loved this cheek color with this eye look. It just looks so fresh, and I loved it. Then I added a little bit of contour with the Too Faced Milk Chocolate Bronzer and use this to contour my cheeks just a little bit. And then for highlighter, I took the Anastasia highlighting brush and I took Satin Sheets, the eyeshadow from the palette. I thought, why not? Let's use that. And it was a beautiful highlight. So this is a way you can get double duty out of your eyeshadows, is use them as highlighters.
So then I took my finger, put a little more of that Satin Sheets color in the inner corner. I always do this one more time just to further brighten. And then added some of sprinkles. Now this is a little extra, but I took this e.l.f. smudge brush and sprinkles, wet my brush, and applied this just the inner part of the lower lash line, and it just added a little extra something. You could totally skip this if you're short on time. And then I took a little bit of almond truffle on that same brush and further diffused that lower lash line, making it more soft. Then taking a Q-tip, you can see I already did on the right eye, I just wanted to soften the tip of the eyeshadow there, and so I just used that gently to just diffuse that outermost part of the shadow. Now it's time for lips. Applied the MAC Soft Ochre Paint Pot again around the edge because I was going to be applying some gloss. And then I went in with my NYX Mauve Lip Liner. It's getting down there, folks. And I applied this all around the edge, blended it in just a little bit further than the outer edge, and then went in with this Urban Decay little lipstick in the color Naked. This is just a really nice light pink shade. And then I went over the top of it with this Lancome L'Absolute Lacquer in the number 308, Let Me Shine. And these are really cool. It's a gloss formula, but it kind of dries down and you can layer them up and they last for a long time. So here's our finished look. This was probably my favorite look of the three, but I really enjoyed using this palette and challenging myself, so I hope that you will too. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.